Hey kids, it's time for a story.
Hi, I'm Auntie Mila, and I have a story for you tonight. It's called Eyes in the Forest. But first, I have a verse. It's in the book of Isaiah, Isaiah 66:14. And I like it. It says, "The hand of the Lord shall be known to his servants." In other words, we will see God working. I like that verse. The story I have for you tonight happened a long time ago. I mean, a long time ago, like in the 1700s. That's a long time ago. Back when there were Indians, beautiful Indians. Well, John was a young teenager, and he was in the garden hoeing. And he was hoeing the weeds. It's fun to plant a garden, but then these ugly weeds come up, and you have to pull them out, or they'll choke out the plants. So he was hoeing and hoeing and hoeing. He was working and working really hard. Because back then, everyone grew big gardens. They had to grow their potatoes and carrots and cabbages. And so he was working real hard. And his friend Benjamin came along. "Hey, John," he said, "let's go play ball." John said, "No, I can't. I have to weed." And he was weeding. "Well, okay, I'll wait for you, and then we'll go play." John says, "No, I can't even play then." Benjamin said, "What?" He said, "Mr. Jackson is away, and he came and asked me if I could please go and wind up his big clock. He has a big old grandfather's clock. He says it has been ticking for 50 years and it's never stopped, and he's counting on me to go and wind it." Benjamin, I want to play ball this afternoon." John said, "Well, why don't you come with me?" Ben said, "Okay." So John was about through hoeing his part of the garden. He went running in the house and says, "Mom, we're going to go to Mr. Jackson's house now. He lives down by the creek, and I have to wind his big clock for him. And Benjamin's going with me." And Mom said, "Oh, that's nice of Benjamin. Okay." She says, but by the way, Dad just came home from town, and he said some of the town people have seen some big Indian warriors around. So please be careful." And John and Benjamin looked at each other. Indian warriors. That didn't sound very comforting. So off they went. John and Ben were good friends, and they walked down the road, and then down this tiny little road, through the woods, down towards the creek. And they got to Mr. Jackson's little log cabin. And but when they got there, they had a really kind of uneasy feeling, like maybe someone was watching them. And so they walked up the steps, walked onto his porch, and John had a key, and he took the key and he put it in, unlocked the door, and walked in. It was a small little cabin, but it was comfy and cozy, and there was the grandfather clock over there against the wall. And so he walked over, and he had this big key that he'd wind it and wind it and wind it. While he was winding it, Benjamin grabbed his arm and said, "John, what's that noise?" And John stopped. Listened, and it sounded like footsteps crunching in the grass and leaves of the woods. "What is that?" And then they heard someone, walk up on the porch, and they dove behind this big dresser close to the clock, and they hid down. And they were just real quiet. And the door opened, and someone walked in. Well, you know what? There was a tiny little crack that they could see through, this tiny little crack. It was a big Indian warrior with war paint on his face, and they was quiet as a mouse, quiet as could be. And John started to pray in his mind. We can pray in our mind, you know. We can pray with our lips, and so our voice is heard, or we just pray in our mind. And he was praying in his mind. He was saying, "Jesus, help. Help. We're scared. Please help." He was praying in his mind. He wasn't making a sound. And they just sat there. And this Indian warrior walked in, looked around. And the boys didn't know what was going to happen next. What if they found them? And they were just hiding so quietly. Suddenly, the big old grandfather clock went bong, bong, bong. And the Indian warrior had never heard a sound like that. He turned around and he ran out of the door, down the steps, and into the forest. And the boys said, "Oh, he's gone." And after a while, they came out and they were trying to relax because their heart was beating. And they thought, "Oh, he's gone. Well, let's finish winding up the clock." So John finished winding up the clock. And then John said, "Let's go." And they were just starting at the door, and Benjamin said, "John, hold it. Look at the clock." And they looked at the clock. And it was 10 minutes to 6 o'clock. They said, "The clock's not supposed to ring until 6 o'clock. It's 10 minutes till." And John said, "It is." And then John looked at Benjamin and said, "It's a miracle." Benjamin said, "A miracle?" He said, "Let's go." So they went out, they locked the door carefully, and they started walking. And John said, "You know what? I was really praying." Benjamin said, "You were praying?" John said, "Yes, because we were in trouble. And I was praying that God would save us." He said, and then the clock struck. And he says, "I think it was a miracle because it was 10 till. It wasn't supposed to strike until 6 o'clock. And it was 10 minutes before 6. And they were walking along. Benjamin was real quiet. A miracle. Because you see, Benjamin didn't know about Jesus and all his miracles. And John said, "Yeah, it was a miracle." So they went back to the house. And Benjamin stayed for supper. And while they were eating supper, they told Mom and Dad all about it. And John said, "Mom, I know it was a miracle that scared the Indian away." And Mom said, "Well, I think you're probably right." And Benjamin said, "A miracle. Maybe there is a God that performs miracles. What do you think?" Isn't that a nice story? I want to have prayer, okay? Let's bow our heads. Oh, dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for the clock striking before even it was time. Lord, thank you for the miracles you've done in our lives. We love you. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Thank you so much for joining me. I love talking to you. I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Come again. See you next time. Stories for Kids with Auntie Mila.